It was 3:42 a.m. when the first camera stopped recording. Not glitched, not powered off. Stopped. Frame frozen, audio continuing. That's what unsettled me most. Silence on screen, whispers on tape. My name is Daniel Mercer, and if you're hearing this, it means the church never released the full archive. They told the public the cases were resolved. They told the families the rituals worked. They told me I was suffering from stress-induced dissociation. But stress doesn't synchronize clocks. Stress doesn't corrupt files across 3 states at the same minute. Stress doesn't whisper back. This is the complete record. All 3 cases, and what they turned me into. Phase 1. Emily Vance, The Listening Walls. Emily wasn't violent, wasn't aggressive, wasn't even frightened. That was the first red flag. Most alleged possession cases are soaked in fear. The afflicted cry, plead, bargain. Emily observed, like she was attending a lecture she'd already heard. The rectory was old, 19th century wood, narrow corridors, plaster walls that seemed to absorb sound rather than reflect it. During intake, I asked standard evaluation questions. Do you feel like someone else is controlling your thoughts? No, she said calmly. Do you hear voices? She paused. Yes. From where? She looked up toward the corner of the ceiling. Not from, through. I wrote that down. Through. That night at 3:42 a.m., the temperature dropped 6 degrees in under 30 seconds. Not dramatic, but measurable. My breath fogged faintly. The fluorescent light above my desk hummed louder. Then, Daniel. Soft, from inside the wall behind me. I stood so quickly my chair tipped over. Silence. I checked Emily's room. She was asleep. Camera confirmed. I reviewed the audio. Layered under the hum of the light was my own earlier question. State your name. And beneath that, Daniel. It wasn't mimicry. It wasn't distorted. It was deliberate. Escalation. The following evening, Emily began answering questions before they fully formed in my mind. I tested it. I stared at her and silently thought, what are you? She smiled. Patient, she replied. My pulse quickened, my own thoughts echoing in another mind. That night, security footage captured something worse. At 3:42 a.m., I stood, walked into the hallway, stopped outside Emily's door, and placed my hand against it gently, like greeting an old friend. The footage glitched at 3:43. When it returned, I was back at my desk, seated, writing. The page I was filling contained a single repeated phrase in my handwriting. 3 doors. Over and over, filling the page. I don't remember writing it. The Exorcism. The Exorcism was scheduled the next evening. At exactly 3:42 a.m., every camera shut off, except one, Emily's room. She sat upright in bed, staring directly into the lens, and whispered, First. Father Miguel attempted the ritual. Latin prayers, sacred objects. Emily didn't resist. She didn't speak in rage. She only observed. And the walls listened, groaned, moved faintly, like the house itself was participating. The exorcism ended. The church declared success. Emily appeared calm, normal. But I wasn't fooled. At 3:42 a.m. the next night, the temperature dropped again. A whisper moved through the rectory. Not just Emily's room. The whole building seemed aware. Waiting. I left the rectory that morning, knowing I could never return. Because what had been released to me in the archive wasn't Emily. It was something else. Something patient. Something listening. And the first door had been opened. Isaac's case came weeks after Emily's. Different state, different priest, same time. 3:42 a.m. I didn't tell Father Miguel about Emily. I didn't mention the voice. I told myself coincidence still existed. The arrival. Isaac Romero was 12, small for his age, thin hands, sharp eyes. He barely blinked. The rectory was modern, sterile, almost minimalistic. White walls, polished floors, cameras mounted in every corner. When I first met him, he looked straight at me, unblinking. "Who are you?" he asked. Not a childlike curiosity, but cold observation. I introduced myself. He tilted his head, analyzing. "Daniel," he said, not repeating, not echoing, just stating fact. The first session. Father Miguel recited prayers in Latin. Isaac corrected his pronunciation, without hesitation. I discreetly activated a live stream to archive remotely. My phone vibrated instantly. Live. Viewer count 0. Then, comments appeared. No usernames, no icons, just white text. "He hears you. Stop filming. You opened one." My chest tightened. There was no public link, no promotion, no way for viewers to exist. Isaac tilted his head slowly toward my pocket. "You shouldn't record," he said. I turned the phone off, or thought I did. The pattern emerges. That night, at exactly 3:42 a.m., the screen lit up by itself. Live stream active. Viewer count 1. Comment repeated slowly. Second. Isaac's voice changed during the final session. Not deeper, not louder, just layered, like two voices sharing the same breath. Father Miguel pressed holy water against his forehead. Isaac smiled. "Through," he whispered. The crucifix on the wall didn't fall. It turned, facing the opposite direction, toward me. Lights in the chapel flickered once at 3:42 a.m., then steadied. Isaac slumped forward, unconscious. The church declared improvement, but I kept one corrupted clip. At 3:42 a.m., Isaac looks directly into the camera and mouths something silently. After weeks of audio enhancement buried in static, second door. Same cadence, same tone as Emily. Escalation. I couldn't leave it alone. I began watching every frame, every shadow. Even after the church's approval, I recorded nights of surveillance secretly. At 3:42 a.m., objects in Isaac's room moved subtly. A chair tilted slightly. Pages of books turned. A crucifix spun gently on the table. Not violent, deliberate, almost testing. On the fifth night, Isaac didn't sleep. He sat in the center of his room, legs crossed, staring at the ceiling. "I see it," he said. "No one else can." I asked, "What do you see?" He smiled faintly. Waiting. The mirror incident. One night, I set up a small mirror in the corner. Isaac was facing me, not the mirror. At 3:42 a.m., the reflection moved independently. A shadow appeared behind him, pale and stretched. It didn't touch him. It didn't move its limbs. It just existed. I froze the footage, zoomed frame by frame. It looked like him, but wrong. Posture slightly off, head tilted at an unnatural angle. Then Isaac whispered, "You watch. It watches." The final session. Father Miguel led the final ritual with me observing.
Holy water, prayers, crucifix, everything standard. At 3:42 a.m., the lights dimmed. The air grew thick. Isaac's voice layered again. 2, 3, maybe 4 voices sharing the same breath. I backed up to avoid interference. The crucifix on the wall shifted once more. This time it faced the livestream camera. Isaac's lips moved silently. Even after audio enhancement, I could only make out one phrase: second door. The ritual ended. Isaac collapsed into sleep. The church declared success. But the whispers continued. The screens never stopped recording. And at 3:42 a.m., every monitor flickered once, and a shadow appeared behind the lens. Aftermath. Weeks later, I isolated the live feed again. Viewer count, 1. The shadow remained. The comment repeated slowly, cryptically. 3rd. It was a warning. Or a continuation. And I knew what was coming next.
By the time Isaac's case ended, I was already unraveling. 3 states, 3 possessions, 3 clocks synchronizing at 3:42 a.m. Emily, Isaac, and now me. The arrival of the 3rd door. I returned to my own rectory that evening, exhausted, haunted, and suspicious. Father Miguel had warned me, "You should leave this alone, Daniel." But I couldn't. I had been marked. The rectory felt different, silent, still. Not the quiet of peace, the quiet of waiting. The first night, I sat at my desk reviewing the corrupted clips. Emily whispered, "First." Isaac whispered, "Second." I didn't need a 3rd clue to know what was coming. At 3:42 a.m., the shadows moved. Not like before, not behind walls, inside me. The signs. It started subtly. My pen moved across the page before my hand touched it. Whispered fragments of Emily and Isaac's voices echoed in my apartment. Doors I didn't open creaked slightly. I tried ignoring it. I tried rationalizing it. Stress, fatigue, coincidence. At exactly 3:42 a.m., the digital clock on my wall froze. All electronic devices glitched. Even my phone vibrated in my pocket, though I hadn't set an alarm. I heard whisper clearly this time. 3rd. Not Emily, not Isaac, not even human. Something patient, something waiting. The investigation. I set up cameras, every angle, every corner. For 3 nights I documented shadows that flickered against no light source, unseen footsteps in hallways, a low hum vibrating through the walls. At 3:42 a.m. each night, the cameras captured something impossible. A pale silhouette, indistinct but humanoid, standing in the corner of the room. It never moved directly toward me. It only watched. When I tried to speak to it, the shadows warped. The whispers became my own thoughts. It was inside me. The full possession. By the 4th night, I couldn't sleep. I began dreaming in layers. Emily's whisper, 1st. Isaac's breath, 2nd. Something else, a deep resonance I could not name. I awoke at 3:42 a.m. My own reflection in the window stared back, but the eyes weren't mine. The lips moved without me. 3rd door. I ran to my office. Every camera feed was corrupted, static, overlaying shadows. A faint pulsing sound, like a heartbeat. Then I noticed the walls. They weren't static. They flexed, as if breathing. Not plaster, not paint, flesh. I couldn't rationalize it. No science, no theology, nothing explained it. The confrontation. I tried to perform a ritual myself. Prayers, holy water, sacred symbols. I repeated every exorcism I'd learned from Emily and Isaac's cases. At 3:42 a.m., the air thickened. The room grew cold. Whispers layered, overlapping, echoing through my head. I saw them all. Emily, her eyes calm. Isaac, tilting his head. Shadows writhing between them. I realized they weren't possessed. They were conduits. And I was the target. A cold voice resonated inside. Open it. Before I could react, the reflection in the window shifted. It stepped out. Not human, not shadow, not light. It was all three. And it was me. The aftermath. I woke up at 3:42 p.m. No memory of what had happened. The archive of cameras vanished. But my apartment had changed. Walls cracked subtly. The ceiling seemed lower. Shadows lingered in corners even in daylight. Every clock I owned now stopped at 3:42, and the whispers never left. I understood now. Emily opened the first door. Isaac opened the second. I had opened the third. The church never warned me. They never wanted me to see. Because the third door isn't just a room, it's a state, a presence, a witness. And now I am part of it. Every night at 3:42 a.m., I hear the counting. First, second, third. And I know more will follow.